plus MAGA. Their biggest fear is that a candidate like Zoran Mamdani, not that he fails, is that he succeeds. That's their fear. And that is a corporate Democrats' fear as well, because they want to be beholden to the corporate tit. And it is getting worse and worse as we head into these midterms. So Zoran obviously has the president's attention, which is incredibly interesting. The president cannot quit talking about him, even mentioned him in the State of the Union address, that they talk all the time, that he really likes him. And they're all wound up because New York had this big blizzard, right? And 16 inches of snow. And this is how the internet has memed this. Pop this up. Here we go. Zoran, 16 inches. And then he offers New Yorkers $30 an hour to plow every street. And it says every street across all 5 boroughs plowed. This, ladies and gentlemen, is big dick energy. And if we go to what happened after this, this is just phenomenal. So New Yorkers plan these snowball events where every snowball fights. And some cops showed up at the snowball fight, and some people hit some cops with snowballs. I don't think people should throw snowballs at cops, but I think on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 0.02 situation. It is a snowball.
Right.
All right. And so the right wing and even some Democrats, they want to fall into this. Oh my God, people are throwing snowballs. It's all Zoran's fault. Andrew Cuomo had a stage 5 meltdown over it. And so they asked Zoran, are you going to ban snowball fights? And notice a lot of corporate Dems would buy into this framing by MAGA. They buy into that. They allow MAGA to frame them, and they cede so much ground. Here's how Zoran handled it.
Would you consider banning these crowdsourcing events because they can and sometimes do get out of hand?
So I'm not going to be banning snowball fights or organized snowball fights. I've shared my thoughts with New Yorkers, and I continue to believe that what we are seeing in this response to this winter blizzard from the city workers as a whole, and that includes the hardworking men and women of the NYPD, is part of why the city's getting back on its feet.
Okay. So I think this is just absolutely incredible. And here's how Tim Miller responded to this. Glad the socialist mayor does not give an inch to the insane reporter who thinks government surveillance of snowball fights is a reasonable policy idea in a free country. And we know, Tim Miller, that he doesn't give an inch. He gives 16 inches in this big dick energy. So to me, the way he handled that, he didn't cede an inch. He didn't buy into right-wing hysteria about this. He said, very calmly, I am not going to be banning snowball fights, because on the one hand, all of these right wingers are about freedom, and Zoran's a commie and he's a socialist and he's going to take your rights away. And then they're all like, ban snowball fights. And he will not buy into it. He stays laser focused on the big issues. The biggest fear that Hakeem Jeffries has, that Chuck Schumer has, that other Republicans have, is that they don't want to see him succeed. And bizarrely, I kind of think Trump wants to see him succeed, because my personal opinion is he has a crush on him.
Trump likes a winner. He does. And here's the thing. When I saw this, I was just like, get a real problem. Like, there are real problems. You have the January 6ers who took guns to the Capitol, cops attacked, killed. Nobody gave a shit about that on the right. But now we're talking snowballs. Like, shut the fuck up. It's just kind of how I see it. Like, get a real problem. We have real issues to deal with. This is not one.
Okay, so this whole shoveling thing that he did, where he knew they were going to have major dump of snow. And so he did what people want to see government do. And Ariana Jasmine posts, Zoran launched a $30 an hour snow shoveling jobs with $45 an hour overtime, and Republicans mocked him. And not only were the sidewalks completely cleared within a day, but he did exactly what taxes are intended to do: take taxpayer money and invest it in people while producing results that benefit everyone. Here's what the right-wing meltdown was all about. You had ketamine head in a K-hole, Elon Musk saying, Zoran's trying to hire people to shovel the streets, and you have to bring 2 forms of ID to do this. Well, you know why, Elon? You have to bring 2 forms of ID? Because they're going to pay them and take out taxes. These shovelers aren't getting $30 in their pocket without taxes like you do, Elon. They are paying into Social Security. They're paying into the city. These people are paying taxes, which is completely different than voting and completely different than the way you and Peter Thiel and Alex Karp operate. I wonder if Peter Thiel and Alex Karp have to give 2 forms of ID to not pay taxes to the billions of dollars they make off of taxpayer money. So this is what the right is complaining about with Zoran. Using taxpayer money to solve city problems. They had so many people that sign up for these jobs. The streets were completely clear. This is exactly the way people want their cities run. And this is their main complaint about him. My main complaint about the Republican Party is that you guys defend child rapists and you guys defend pedophiles, and you're fine kissing the ass of billionaires who think so little of you. That's the difference. That's the moral difference between the left and the right now. And then you have these corporate Democrats that are playing patty cake with all of these oligarchs behind the scenes.
At Farmers, we know compromises can be compromising.
You installed this?
Yep. Even had a few screws left.
You know, it's interesting to me. They wanted to pick on this idea because it was such a good idea. It was so well executed. And the worst thing they could say was you had to get 2 forms of ID. Like, they are reaching on this. And when I think about all the billionaires, I've really been thinking about it. Like, death and taxes, those are 2 things that are absolutely assured.
Not for them.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay them, yet we all benefit. I'm happy that a single mother gets to take her child and gets a child care credit. I'm happy to pay for that because somebody needs to help these people. These people don't want to help anybody. They want to make billionaires richer.
And the reason why these people need help is because the government and corporate Dems and Republicans refuse to put laws for people making a livable wage, because the Republicans freak out and go, oh my God, you're harming big business. We couldn't possibly pay somebody more than $8 an hour. And then when these people make $8 an hour and they're told by the Republican Party, be a pro-family, breed, have kids, live the American dream, they can't afford it. And then the Republican Party, the Family Values Party, demeans them and browbeats them because of a system that they set up for them to fail. And so the thing with Zoran has been really interesting because the Democratic establishment sent in a alleged sexual harasser / abuser, Andrew Cuomo, to run against him after he lost in the primary because, oh my God, businesses are going to flee New York. They are going to flee New York. The billionaires are going to move out. Well, ever since Zoran has won, the luxury housing market in Manhattan is booming. And furthermore, everybody said if Mamdani is elected, rich people will flee. Multinational financial services company says we're going to build a 2 million square foot headquarters a few blocks from City Hall. American Express posts, we are excited to share our plans to build a new state-of-the-art global headquarters at 2 World Trade Center, affirming our company's deep commitment to Lower Manhattan. Read more about this announcement here. It's all bullshit. The one thing that these politicians, these corporate politicians and these corporations have in common is they lie. They are lying liars that get away with it. And the only way we can get away from this is to stop believing their lies and start believing politicians who put forth policies that are for the people. You're either for corporations or you're for the workers. You're either for Peter Thiel, who doesn't pay that much in taxes, who has decided he doesn't think democracy is compatible with his life anymore. Does he put his name on a ballot and run like Zoran does? No, he wants to cheat. He is in the Epstein files, colluding with Jeffrey Epstein celebrating the downfall of Brexit, trying to dismantle democracy right now because he thinks he's smarter than you. And he's simply not. He's just better at exploiting people and better at being a psychopath. So, where does this leave us with all of this? Zoran goes in to City Hall, and Eric Adams left him with a horrific budget deficit. It is a part of law that he has to operate with a balanced budget. Zoran does. So he has to work with the governor, Kathy Hochul, to help bridge this divide. And so basically, there's two options here. Kathy Hochul can do what all Democrats do, is they act like they're for the people, but secretly they're for corporations, and they allow this right-wing narrative. In order to be pro-business, you have to give all businesses and all rich people tax breaks. Otherwise, they're going to hold you emotionally hostage and threaten to leave. I'm sorry, but we're going to have leadership that bucks the system. And Zoran is calling on Albany, specifically Kathy Hochul, to help define a different Democratic Party. But the thing is, it's not that different. It is the Democratic Party of FDR. This new Democratic Party that has been ushered in since the ruling of John Roberts Court Citizen United is not the Democratic Party. It is the party for corporations that adds in a slight bit of harm reduction. We all need to open up our eyes to this. And Kathy Hochul seems to be going through a political evolution that all of us are going through. We're all opening up our eyes that these corporations are liars. They don't care about the American people, nor do they care about the American government. Are people fleeing Manhattan? No. Do you think they want to go live in dump truck Ron DeSantis, Little Kitten Hills, Florida? No, they don't. They're investing in Manhattan. They're investing in New York City. So New York needs a governor that will cooperate with this new Democratic Party, which is the party of the people, by the people, for the people, not for these billionaires that try to skirt taxes and then blame the very workers that made them rich. Disgraceful. So Kathy Hochul is going a little dark woke. I've got her on my watch list. Here's Kathy right here. So Pop Crave tweets, the cottage from Heated Rivalry will be available to book on Airbnb beginning March. Kathy, I didn't know you had this in you. She says, I hope the taxpayers are ready to fund Kash Patel's weekend here. Kathy, A+. Love it. Right there. You did it. You said it right there with that tweet. Are the taxpayers wanting to fund Kash Patel? The overwhelming answer to that is no. Do the taxpayers want to fund Bill Ackman or some other billionaire asshole that blames them for being poor while he exploited them? You've got to tax these guys. You've got to. And it's bigger than just the billionaires, because we can pick a personality and pick on them all day long. I could start right now on Elon Musk and not finish till next year. The same with Zuckerberg. But they aren't the problem. It's the system that has enabled and allowed them. And you and Zoran have a roadmap to help the Democratic Party get back to its FDR roots. We have to be a party of the workers, and you have to sit down with these corporations and explain to them that you're changing the culture. It is a pro-business culture in New York, but it is a business culture that supports New Yorkers. What? These people on the board of directors lose a couple $100 million when their net worth is over $1 billion. I mean, this is just the greed and the selfishness that is enabled by corporate Democrats has to stop with you, Kathy Hochul. You and Zoran have got to create the roadmap for all of these other states, but more importantly, for the heart and soul of this nation. You're either pro-corporation and pro-rich, greedy psychopaths, or you're pro-America and you're pro-workers. And we're going to stop allowing these corporations to exploit workers and then blame them and scapegoat them for all of America's problems. Kathy, you've got to buck up and do this.